We are a mission-driven organization focused on accelerating the transition to a zero-carbon grid. And specifically, we do that by working with anyone who buys or sells clean energy or invests in clean energy assets with the goal of really deploying capital to the highest impact opportunities in the market. The problems we solve for our customers roll up to three different categories. One is transparency, one's liquidity, and the third is impact. And ultimately what that means is when you think about transparency, at the end of the day, if you're buying clean energy or investing in a project, fundamentally you have to predict the expected value of that action and how much risk you're taking financially to do that. And so we provide a lot of information and tools across data, software, advisory services that allow our customers to confidently make decisions based off that expected value and risk. And so that information role is really in the transparency bucket. When we think about liquidity, once you have an understanding of the expected value or risk of a given transaction, then you have to act on it. And so being able to make sign a PPA, being able to make an investment, being able to enter into a hedge and do so in a way that is efficient, both in terms of time and transaction costs, is critical to deploying that capital in the most impactful and efficient ways. And so we offer a suite of tools on sort of the financial services side of our business to support that liquidity goal. And lastly is impact. The industry as a whole in clean energy has begun to realize over the last couple of years that not every action, not every clean megawatt hour is equal. And so increasingly, rather than thinking about wind and solar or storage as just blunt force good opportunities, we increasingly see investors and buyers trying to focus their deployment of capital and risk to the areas that has the highest impact. And so that third bucket is really the tools to do that sort of high impact deployment of capital and risk management. So when I think about the challenges our customers are facing today, people say, what's some of the biggest challenges? On the one hand, there's a very long list. Transmission challenges, interconnection queues, cheap natural gas and expensive capital. So our customers have a lot of challenges they're wrestling through. At the same time, I don't think there has been ever as much optimism in this industry. We have enormous support from the Inflation Reduction Act and otherwise from a policy perspective. We've seen really unwavering demand by large corporations to decarbonize their own activities and businesses. And so I think what we get really excited about as a company is what are the tools we have to give to our customers in order to work through that uncertainty and those complexities and really capitalize on what is a unprecedented level of opportunity, both from a financial and impact perspective, to grow the renewable energy and the clean energy industry more broadly. Who we're built to serve is actually pretty straightforward. So if you are someone who develops projects or own projects that sell carbon-free electricity into the grid, or you are someone who buys power from that, you might be a large corporation, you might be a retailer, you might be a utility, or if you are anyone who invests, whether that's across the spectrum of equity, debt, tax equity in those assets that are producing carbon-free energy, you are a current or potential client of ours. And so at the end of the day, what we do is enable people to make decisions about what their projects they're building, what projects they are buying power from, what projects they're investing in, and then monitoring and managing those investments that they've made, those decisions they've made. And so it gets down to the granular level. We work a lot of times with hourly data, but at a high level, it comes down to investing in, buying, and selling those clean electrons. When you think about the electric grid, so when everybody turns their lights on at home, the power plants that support that produce about a quarter of all global carbon emissions. And so it is a massive contributor to climate change. A recent stat is that about half of the hours in California recently were served entirely by renewable energy. So we've come in certain times and certain places to serve basically the entire demand for electricity with clean energy. So we've shown in certain times, certain places we can do it. The job is to do that all the time, everywhere. Optimistically, if we do what's needed from a deployment of transmission and new projects and storage, we can do this in a 10 to 20 year time frame. And so it is in the near term, we have the opportunity to dramatically reduce or even potentially eliminate the contribution of the electricity industry to climate change. We also have technology in terms of the cost of the wind turbines, the cost of the solar panels that have all come down dramatically over the past decades, and really make it possible for renewables and clean energy generally to be the cheapest source of power in many times and many locations. And so it ultimately comes down to how do we continue to drive that cost curve today on how we produce electricity, and how do we make sure, and this is the part that our business focuses on, there is a deep and transparent and liquid financial system to deploy the capital needed to those projects.